Hello, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge and welcome to my February wrap up. So just a couple things to mention before we get into this. First off, I make new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You can subscribe right here if you'd like more bookish content. I do all the normal booktube things. Yes. Second, this is part one of my wrap up actually, because I made a romance wrap up because I read 11 romance books this month for Romanceopoly, as well as I was just on a binge because I was stuck in my house. You probably heard of this already. Have horrible weather here in the Midwest of the United States. I was snowed in many days and I went on a Kindle binge and read all these books. But because not all of my subscribers, like that kind of content with like steamier reads and romance like that, I've made it in a separate video that comes out tomorrow. So you can look forward to that if you want to know more about those that I read. But otherwise, because in total I read 18 books in the month of February, which was crazy. But again, a lot of them were Kindle reads, and let's be real, they're just a lot easier to get through. And then, so the books that I have in front of me actually have very high ratings because it went pretty well. I only have a 1 3-star right here. I have a 1 4.5-star, and then I have 4 5-stars here. So I have like 7 books to talk about here, but you can look at the other ones in my next video. So anyway, that's enough explanations. Let's jump right in, starting with the lowest rated book of these ones. For me, that was The Other Miss Bridgerton by Julia Quinn. This is her newest book. I just didn't connect with the characters in this one. This one is about a Poppy Bridgerton who she is out on the beach one day, and she's like trying to get away from going back home or something. I don't know. I can't even remember totally. And she stumbles into a smuggler's cave where they have illicit items. And so she gets taken back to the ship to be kidnapped, and she gets kidnapped by Andrew James Roxby. And the Roxbys are actually the next door neighbors, but he's the brother that she's never met. And she ends up a captive on his ship, and I just felt a little hinky about it, and I didn't think like their love story jived super well with me. But it's still Julia Quinn's writing, so there's lots of quips. It was pretty fun. It's just a lower rated one for me. So this was 3 stars. Next, I have my 4.5-star. Getting up real quick, and that is Goodbye Perfect by Sarah Bernard. This book was so good, and as I said in a vlog earlier, I read a lot of age gap romances this month. That is not what this is. I'll tell you in a second. I read a lot of age gap romances this month, and I think they have a certain like charm and can be fun to them. There's danger, there's forbidden romance, and that can be exciting. However, this is a case of where it is very inappropriate, and this girl's best friend, I just forgot everyone's name, Eden, her best friend Bonnie runs away with her music teacher, who is like 35 and her friend is 15, and they run away. Well, her friend has a burner phone, and she keeps messaging Eden and telling her about all the fun she's having and the things that they're doing. Meanwhile, the police and Bonnie's parents are all looking to Eden to tell them where she is and trying to convince her that it's wrong what this teacher did. And Eden doesn't see it that way, and she doesn't understand why, if those two are in love, they can't be together, and why he's a pedophile for stealing a 15-year-old girl away. So it's very interesting because Eden has to come to the realization that one way or the other, whether she thinks this is appropriate or not, she has been left to deal with the fallout of Bonnie's decision. And was that fair of her friend to just cut and run and give up all her responsibilities and leave her friend like holding the bag, basically? This was very powerful. You are pretty frustrated with Eden while you're reading it, and it's hard as a 25-year-old to put my head back to how would I have felt if my friend had done this when I was a kid. And I don't know that I have a perfect answer for that, but it was very good, and they gave it a 4.5 stars. I forgot one other book. I just looked down. I also read 10 by Gretchen McNeil, and this was a 4-star read. So I did those 2 backwards. Oopsie. I sped through this book. This is and then there were none retelling, basically. These 10 teenagers go to have a party weekend on this island where like there's some really rich people's houses on this like island, and you can only get there by ferry. And they get trapped there for the weekend when there's a big storm, and someone starts picking them all off. Like, it's really cool. It says 10 teens, 3 days, and 1 killer. And yeah, these are the places where people die, because I flagged it, because I'm cool like that. This was very readable. I thought it was more enjoyable than quite a few contemporary thrillers I've read. I find myself usually pretty annoyed with those, especially like teenage contemporary thrillers, because you just feel like the kids are so stupid. In this case, they are not that stupid. Like, they make a lot of good decisions, but the killer is just smarter than them. And that is really scary, where you could try to do all the right things and it still not be enough because you just can't compete. So this was really fun, very readable, and I really had a good time. Again, this is 10 by Gretchen McNeil. I really suggest it. It came out quite a few years ago. It came out in 2012, and I thought it was still really smart for a thriller. You know, it does, of course, have the normal like tropes because it's a thriller, so it's going to fit into those, but I thought it was a great time. So already we're on to my 5-star books, and I am super excited. I will get the one out of the way that y'all know is probably coming if you watched my vlog the other day. I reread Illuminate. I listened to it and finished reading it off. This is my favorite book, was like my favorite book last year, almost. It was tied with a couple others. It is on my top list of all time for sure. I adore these characters. I adore this story. If for some reason you haven't heard of Illuminate, I will link up here in the little cloud. I did a PSA why you should read Illuminate. It's just a quick 5-minute video about all the like pros of these books. But this is by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. It's told in multimedia format of these files, because it literally is the Illuminate files where something bad happened, and a group of people called the Illuminate group is compiling files to put together a case against someone. I'm not going to tell you, but I love it. The story is so clever. It takes a little bit to get into, because if you're not used to this kind of storytelling, which I don't know who is, because I've never seen anything like this, it takes a bit to get into it, but you care so much about the people in here. And there is one character that I would die for them, and even though they're a crazy psychopath, I would die for them. What that says about me, I don't know. But I love this series, and you should read them. I'm probably not going to reread the whole series. Maybe I will. I reread this one because I wanted my best friend to read it, and we were riding in a car together, and so I had the choice of what we listened to, and we listened to Illuminate, and it was great. Next, I read The Duke and I by Julia Quinn, which is a reread because I'm rereading the first series of hers I ever read, which is the Bridgerton series. So this is the first one. This has a really cute setup. This is prime Julia Quinn for me. This is what I love best about her. She writes like this comedic Jane Austen, lots of snippy, quippy comebacks and thrills in your stomach still, because the romance is adorable. But this is about Simon and Daphne, and Simon has decided he doesn't want to get married because he didn't want to give his father an heir because he hates his father, and Daphne is just trying to survive and find love, and her and Simon do the fake fiance trope, but then they get caught in a compromising position and they end up having to get married, and then it goes from there. And it's cute. It's a bunch of things I love in historical romance. And it introduces you to the Bridgerton clan, of which there are 8 children. And there's a book for everyone. So I'm excited to take on the next one next month. I'm going to try to read like one every month, or multiples if I can't wait. You know how it goes. So love it. Next, I finished Night of Flame. This was the 5th and final book in the Steel and Fire series by Jordan Rivett. She is a self-published author. You can find her on Amazon. Her books are on Kindle Unlimited, I believe. A lot of her books are. This is the first series of hers I ever read. I plan to read the next one in her spin-off series next month. I have it on my TBR. And this was amazing. I can't say too much because this is the 5th book, but this series in general has been such a fun ride. I actually just rewatched, because I'm working on a secret project, and I just rewatched a video when I was like first starting the series, and just like how, I don't know, how naive I was about what I was getting into. I was super excited about that. So anyway, I love this. It was 5 out of 5 stars. I love Civ, Idara, and Sora, and Selvine, and I love them. And there's dragons. And then finally, I'm so excited to talk about these, because I read these, like, I actually read these on like January 30th and 31st, but I already filled my wrap up. So anything I read like in the 2 days afterwards, I put into the next month. So I've been sitting on these for so long, and I talked about in my vlogs a little bit at the time, but guys, I read the entire run of the Saga comic book by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. I'm going to hold up the first one because it's my favorite cover. This is an amazing, like, it's so good. This is about, why can't I find his name? I'm so mad. Marco. Oh my God. This is about Marco and Alana, who are of 2 different species who fall in love with each other. And that's a big deal because their 2 species hate each other, and they're from warring worlds where they kill each other all the time. And they fall in love and have a baby named Hazel. And Hazel is actually telling the story, so we know Hazel is okay because she's telling this from far in the future. And then it just goes through, ooh, look at that bloody one. It just goes through the next like 6 or 7 years of their lives together. And it has the hugest cliffhanger you've ever seen, and I can't talk about it. And if you know what it is, feel free to reach out to me, because I have feelings and I need to talk about it. And it was soul crushing, and I have nothing else to say. But it's 5 out of 5 stars. It has space battles, it has sword fights, it has bounty hunters, it has a person who has a robot screen for a face. That's a thing. It is definitely mature content. There are sometimes naked bodies and sometimes people's heads getting blown off. It is it's so good, guys. I mean, it has such a beautiful romance. Like, I believe, like Brian K. Vaughan said, like, the story really is about the romance between Marco and Alana. But, like, it's the overarching that, like, their love is what's doing this and changing people's hearts and minds, as well as, like I said, lots of bloody fights and weird looking aliens. And it has a Star Wars vibe, but a lot bloodier. So anyway, guys, I had a great reading month. I read 18 things. Like I said, my romance wrap up will be coming tomorrow. And you can see all the other books I read. They were not as highly rated as these. So if you want to see me really kind of go off on a couple of books, you can definitely check that one out. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Like I said, I make new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and you can watch some more right now. Have a great day. Bye.